Welcome everyone to our February edition of Copilot Newsroom, where we're trying to share with you latest and greatest news about ever-changing world of Microsoft Copilot. We're going to go through our agenda, and then at the end of the call, we'll try to get some questions from you. Please use the chat for interaction with us. Put any questions or comments that you have, and we will have a great show. So I'm going to pass it over to Callan.
Thanks so much, Alex. Again, yes, welcome everyone to our February Copilot Newsroom. We've created this series to help you navigate and stay ahead in the dynamic and constantly changing Microsoft Copilot ecosystem. Like Alex mentioned, today we will cover the latest updates and try to answer some of those questions that you pop in the chat for us, diving into practical strategies for maximizing the value of Copilot within your organization. Additionally, we will also dedicate time towards the end to answer those questions. We also encourage you to proactively participate with your reactions and questions that you may have so that we can share in this communal space together. Oh, also, we will be recording this session for later use and viewing. If you want to send it to anybody, it will be also posted on our website as well as on YouTube. So please let us know if you'd like to have a copy of the presentation as well as the recording that we'll be reviewing or going through today. We can share it with you. Just in the past few months, or month rather, we did this last month, Microsoft has released just a few updates, and I'll get into that in just a couple moments. But before we dive into content, most of you know who we are. I'll go through this very quickly, but at Valorem Modern Work, our world revolves around the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. With Viva and the Accelerator, we are a very large community of change managers utilizing the ADKAR and ProSci methodology to drive our transformation. Valorem Reply proudly holds all 6 solution partner designations, including Modern Work, Business Applications, Data and AI Azure, Digital and App Innovation, Infrastructure, and Security. We also have Modern Work Advanced Specializations in Adoption Change Management and Custom Solutions and Teams. We very much look forward to learning more about your organization and how our expansive Microsoft knowledge can be of assistance for you at your organization. My name is Kellen McLeod. I am an adoption change management consultant, and I'll pass it over to my good friend Lee to introduce himself as well.
Thanks, Kellen. My name's Lee. I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant and really excited to take you through some admin and management changes as we get to the second half of the session.
And I'm Alex Zakurin, Senior Manager with Microsoft 365 team at Valorem Reply, and I'll be on the call to help with Q&A portion.
Thank you both so much. Just for the admin and management capabilities, we have a couple of updates that rolled out. We will be taking you through the new pay-as-you-go for agents and SharePoint functionality, Copilot in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, some admin recap and message center summarization features, understanding usage trends with Copilot Analytics, and then scaling Microsoft Copilot Academy in Viva Learning. With me, you'll be going through end-user capabilities, learning about Copilot Prompt Gallery and how that has changed in the past month, a couple new entry points for Copilot in Excel, refining and enhancing your emails with Copilot in Outlook. There's been more capabilities for building and summarizing presentations with Copilot in PowerPoint, as well as text selection, file referencing in Word, and personalized prompt suggestions from Copilot Chat. Without further ado, let's get into it. So just as a reminder, this was a January edition, but I think it is important to bring up. Copilot for Entra account users will be renamed. Instead of Copilot Biz Chat, it will be renamed Copilot Chat. The new Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat will still allow you to discover, create, and use agents within the same interface, just changing the name. The new Microsoft 365 Copilot chat will be accessible within the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, very long name, with options for admins and end users to control access. And the Microsoft 365 app will be named Microsoft 365 Copilot, and its icon will be updated as announced during the November 2024 Ignite conference. Copilot Prompt Gallery continues to help users discover, save, and share their favorite prompts that they use with Copilot. The new Copilot Prompt Gallery provides a central place for users to find and use relevant prompts across Copilot chat and agents, and helps complement the existing in-app experiences. You will also be able to save and revisit your favorite prompts, share them with your colleagues, and discover prompts for specific tasks or workflows shared within a Microsoft Teams team by filtering them based on their need or use case. The capabilities in the Copilot Prompt Gallery app will be expanding to empower you to gain prompt inspiration and unlock greater value in your prompts while accelerating your organization's adoption efforts of Copilot. This app is rolling out throughout February and will be available to Copilot users in the Microsoft365.com website, Teams desktop, and Outlook. Copilot chat users without a Microsoft 365 Copilot license will now be able to gain access to this app in the spring. Also, the Prompt Gallery widget in Teams will now be able to surface those same saved prompts that you have created as well. It will also display relevant, quote, team prompts specific to the teams that you are a member of. There will also be personalized prompt suggestions in Copilot Chat, where you will be able to get started quicker with prompt suggestions that provide more relevant information based on your previous conversations. So in your Copilot Chat window, there will be a list of prompt suggestions that might not have been there before, with an arrow that kind of allows you to go through the list of them. You can access this through recommended prompts button at the bottom of your prompt pane. On the horizon for Excel, and I think a few people might be really excited about this feature, we have a couple more ways to access Copilot in Excel. The Copilot icon will now appear in each data cell in an Excel spreadsheet for users to access Copilot capabilities within the flow of work rather than a separate prompt pane. So instead of going to that top right-hand corner, Copilot is able to be accessed right in the data set. You'll be able to discover formula suggestions, conditional formatting ideas, and explore new ways to visualize that data using charts and pivot tables and the suggested prompts that Copilot provides. If you happen to be sharing your screen also, this feature has the ability to be hidden just to avoid any confusion and allow for greater visibility. Microsoft is coming out with a couple more updates for Outlook and when drafting emails with Copilot. It is coming out with an auto rewrite feature. You have now more flexibility to rewrite selected portions of the text for more precise edits, similar to the ability to rewrite in Word. To streamline this experience even further, auto rewrite will enable, faster and more seamless revisions in just a click or two. Alongside these improvements, Microsoft is launching a redesigned interface that makes using Copilot even more intuitive. In terms of Copilot chat access, Mac users will now be able to access chat, interact, and ask questions to Copilot in Outlook for Mac. Also, all enterprise and business users with a Microsoft 365 subscription will have access to Copilot chat in the web grounding, and users with a Microsoft 365 Copilot license will have access to work grounding as well. Very exciting stuff as we talk about Copilot updates. Some more capabilities for presentations with Copilot in PowerPoint. There will be more capabilities for building and summarizing presentations with Copilot in PowerPoint. We know that creating new presentations can be quite challenging, even with an AI assistant like Copilot. So now they are improving the narrative builder capabilities, and with a simple prompt and a file, the narrative builder has better capability to transform that work into a more compelling narrative in your presentation. So this gives you the flexibility to steer the story up front and helps create a better draft rather than, just a skeleton that some people might experience. You will also be able to include a Word document, and Copilot can pull that information from the text in that Word document. As we already know, Narrative Builder grounds on a work file, pulling that relevant information for you to steer that story in the right direction right away. Also, PowerPoint or Copilot in PowerPoint has increased the file size limit from 15,000 words to 40,000, or about 150 slides. So that's a pretty big increase when we talk about updates. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Lee to go through admin and management capabilities. Lee?
Thank you very much, Kellen. So getting into our admin and management capabilities for February, I want to jump in first of all with something that we did cover to some degree in January, but it's an important reminder, as this is a big change and could have broader impacts to a lot of tenants, and that is the pay-as-you-go billing model for agents in SharePoint. So now that we've got the capability of creating agents directly in SharePoint, and that would be either grounding that agent in a particular SharePoint site or in a particular document library, or even a particular set of documents that we've selected, we have the opportunity to enable those agents for folks who don't have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So no longer do we need that upfront investment of those licenses to enable agentic and generative AI capabilities for more users within the organization by allowing folks to use SharePoint agents on this pay-as-you-go billing model. So don't panic. This isn't something that's turned on by default. It's not going to suddenly start, getting you invoices because people have decided to pick these up. It is something that you have to configure. So if you're looking to allow more users to utilize those SharePoint agents, you can enable this in your admin center. So to enable pay-as-you-go billing, you would need to proactively have that subscription available within your Azure tenant. You need a resource group set up in that subscription, and then you need to use the SharePoint agent specific control to enable pay-as-you-go billing for that. And as I say, that would then allow your users to utilize those agents in SharePoint and get more value and more productivity from those agent features. So really important change, and as I say, it sort of removes the need to have the specific license for the broader audience and the broader organization. So you may already have a pilot or a working group who are enabled with Microsoft 365 Copilot. People within the teams of those individuals or adjacent teams may be thinking, I want to get in the action on this. You can slowly bring more generative AI capability to more of the organization through features like agents in SharePoint, and then build that on a consumption basis where people using those, it spins the meter as and when they are using those tools, rather than necessarily having a specific license for them. So as I say, it is opt-in. You must set that up for it to activate, and it can be done through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Staying in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, Copilot is now also coming to that location. So we've all been using Copilot in our Copilot chats, in our Word and Excel and PowerPoint applications. We can now use Copilot functionality within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center as well. So a really useful and powerful tool for the folks looking after our Microsoft 365 tenants. They can use that in a few ways, but you only have to have effectively a single Microsoft 365 Copilot license within the tenant to activate these features. So once you've got Microsoft 365 Copilot licensing, Copilot will light up in Microsoft 365 Admin Center for you. It's available from the home screen. There's a recap button there, but you can also find it in the suite bar at the top of the screen, like you can in SharePoint and other apps, to bring in the Copilot side pane and start asking questions of your Microsoft 365 Admin Center, which can save time, get you more holistic view on what you need, and also give you those updates that you might not necessarily see without proactively going and hunting for them across the many different panes in that admin center. So the two features called out on the slide there are recap and message center summarization. So these are two really powerful features. So with Recap, based on the role that our admin has in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, we can get a recap of the different metrics that we have access to. So we can get a recap on trend data, on insight data. We can get in sort of information on health and service events. So by asking for that recap, we can get over the last 7 days a response that will tell us what's been going on. So we've got these active health warnings within the tenant. We've got this many support tickets active from the tenant. And we've also seen these changes in the usage data as well. So a really useful tool. And again, that response is based on the level of access and the role assigned to that particular administrator. When we're looking at Message Center summarization, again, really powerful tool. No longer do you necessarily need to have your eyes on the Message Center every day as updates come through. There can be up to, there could be hundreds and hundreds of updates each month, depending on the level of licensing you have in your tenant. So using Message Center summarization allows you really powerfully to be able to bring together all of that information, get that summary, and then tune that to how you want it to respond. So for example, I could say, give me a summarization of SharePoint changes, and Copilot is intelligent enough to understand that, and it will give you the recap of changes made to the SharePoint product within your tenant, and it will give you links to the different Message Center articles as well, so you can then go and read further and expand your knowledge on those upcoming changes within your tenant. So it's a really powerful tool, a really great way for admins to stay on top and stay on the bleeding edge of changes within your tenant. So it's one thing keeping up to speed with the news that's going on in Microsoft 365 generally, but then also understanding when that's impacting your particular tenant is also another challenge that Copilot can then help you with. So by bringing those summaries together, you can then use that to make sure that the team are up to date about changes and updates within the tenant, and it allows you to get things done more readily, more easily, and stay informed, perhaps more than you currently are, because you no longer need to have that proactive review of that Message Center. Sticking with the sort of the facts and figures side, we did discuss Copilot Analytics in quite a lot of depth in January's newsroom, so please do check out our YouTube channel for a review of that. There was a bumper edition in January due to all of the changes from Ignite and in the latter half of sort of the latter month of last year. So review that. There's a lot of information there on Copilot Analytics, very well worth checking out. So to add to that this month, we're now getting more in that Copilot Analytics space. So IT admins have got access to Copilot Analytics as part of that licensing, and now you can get deeper insights so you can look at the usage of Copilot, understand the frequency of it being used, but also the intensity. Where is this product being used? How many interactions are we having? It's all well and good to understand that, people are using Copilot each week, but how much are they using it? Are they getting the most value out of that license? You're now able to understand that, and you can explore those usage details at various thresholds, whereas previously we had almost a rolling window into that world. We can now have more filters to be able to see that in the depth that we're looking for. We can now also group users together, so we can compare usage intensity across the different groups that we define within Copilot Analytics, again helping us to understand where Copilot is being most effective, where perhaps we need to take additional change and adoption steps and make sure people are aware of the different things that are possible within the license. And of course, we can track those trends over time as well. So we can see if we've got consistency in the usage of the tool and make sure that folks are getting, again, the most value from that license. Again, when we're talking about adoption, another useful tool that is available within your tenant is the Microsoft 365 Copilot Academy. This is available in Viva Learning, and the scale here comes from the fact that we can now duplicate that academy to allow us to customize it somewhat. So by bringing in our sort of duplicate version of the Microsoft 365 Copilot Academy, we can still benefit from things like continuous updates, where Microsoft are bringing more and more resources into that academy. We can still benefit from multi-language support in that content as well, but then we can also manage that academy and make sure that we're highlighting or perhaps removing functionality that's not used as much, so that we can focus in on what is a valuable set of enablement materials for our organization. So we can then track those changes as folks work their way through. They get the points through Microsoft Learn, and they can understand sort of their own learning path throughout that. And a really powerful tool to help with ongoing enablement as well, because as we see in Newsroom, there's new features every month that we want to be able to take advantage with. So the Copilot Academy is a great way to enable our folks within the organization to, again, stay up to speed and get the most out of that. Moving into the roadmap as we look ahead to see what else is coming up this month and in future months, we can see that there is going to be, again, an awful lot of more change. So in order to keep on top of that, another reminder from last month's session, a really useful new capability that has been produced by Microsoft is the availability of Copilot release notes. So these are now available through Microsoft Learn. So get yourself to learn.microsoft.com to find the Copilot release notes so you can keep track. This is a great way of seeing almost the Copilot Message Center in the opposite direction, filtering that and sorting that the other way around. So rather than seeing what's coming and making proactive steps to manage the inflow of new features and functionality, we can use the Copilot release notes to understand what has rolled out. So we can keep an eye on what's still in preview, what's made its way to general availability, and see what is available within that product. And you get that breakdown month by month, product by product, so you can see all of those changes. Because again, within Newsroom, we like to bring you the things that we think are the most important, will have the most impact. Some months we can't bring you every change because there's so much pace and investment in the product from Microsoft that there's an awful lot of things to keep on track of. So Copilot release notes is a big help in that as well. So looking at the roadmap, new things that have entered development as of the 7th of February, so earlier this month. These things now in development for Copilot. I've highlighted a couple of these in red because I think they're particularly useful to call out. But now Copilot for Microsoft 365 will now have greater integration with Microsoft Forms, and it will allow you to help collect those responses for those forms. So there's already capability to help you create those forms, whereas now Copilot is also on hand to help you distribute those and get more responses from those forms. Other item that is now in development and on its way is the return of dictation and voice mode with Copilot. This is something that I think a lot of people will be excited to see. Soon you'll be able to use your voice to ask Microsoft 365 Copilot your various prompts so that you can use natural language in a more natural way, i.e. the spoken word, to ask for information from Copilot and use that so you can use your voice to get what you need out of the tool. So a really cool feature that will be in development and coming along the pipeline in the not too distant future. As we look at other items, and the text is teeny weeny on this slide because of just how many changes and updates there are, but these other items are currently in development. So the prior slide was coming into development. These are currently being developed and will be with us in the not too distant future. Again, highlighting in red some important items on this list. Teams chats in Context IQ. Now, Context IQ, that's a terminology that some may not recognize, but that's the way that we interact with Copilot. So our prompt box, where we're typing in our prompts and asking Copilot questions, we're referencing files, we're referencing people, we're referencing meetings, we will now be able to reference team chats in that Context IQ area when that becomes available later on down the line as this exits development, goes into preview and eventually general availability. So being able to actually reference that team chat to get information out of that within your Copilot prompts without having to necessarily be in that chat, a really powerful feature. Similarly, we'll be able to ground in SharePoint sites. So using some of the functionality we gain through SharePoint agents, where we build a particular agent that responds based on the content of sites, using again that Context IQ box where we would reference documents and people and meetings, we'll be able to reference a SharePoint site. So not just a singular document or a few documents by adding them together based on their file name, we'll be able to say, hey, Copilot, this is the query that I have. Go away and ground yourself in the data in this particular SharePoint site. And then we get a really powerful response based on that grounding. Finally, on in development, which has been announced and will be coming in the not too distant future, we've been able to use Copilot within Clipchamp and within Microsoft Stream to get summaries of videos, to get summaries of transcripts and find information within our video content. Soon, we will also be able to use creation of videos through Copilot with the visual creator powered by Clipchamp coming in the not too distant future. So much like how we can ask Copilot with Designer to create still images for us based on our criteria, we'll soon be able to do that with motion video as well. So if you need something for a new launch or a new sort of plan or something like that going on in the organization, you can help to launch that, not just with still imagery, not just with the news and announcement posts, but with video as well, which I think will be really useful for a lot of folks. And finally, things that are now rolling out. So these haven't necessarily made it to the full newsroom list, but these are the things that are have launched within the last month and are rolling out right now. And again, the key one I want to highlight there in red is that updated context IQ menu in business chat. So I've mentioned this a few times already, and further functionality which will be coming to Context IQ. But what's really great about that now that the V2 is coming to that, rather than just having again that list of people and meetings and files, we can now actively search within that. So you no longer need to know the names of your files, you no longer need to know exactly where they are. There's a search box will be built directly into Context IQ. So as soon as you hit the /, you can actually go and perform a regular search within that, as well as being able to click into your OneDrive and actually navigate through the shared locations you've got access to through that OneDrive location to pick the files yourself specifically. So if it's a particularly hard to find file, you can actually go and tell Copilot exactly where it is already within OneDrive and SharePoint and get it to ground in that document. So some really cool stuff on the way. As I say, in Newsroom, we don't necessarily always have time to cover them all, but those are some cool things that we've picked out that we think you'll be interested in as they come down the line. So Copilot Newsroom, we really enjoy delivering this session every month, and it would be great if you could help us to continue to deliver the session. So on screen, there is a link to a survey. There is also a QR code, so I'll leave it on the screen for a little moment, and it is featured on the next slide as well. So if you could please just take a moment out of your day to fill in the survey behind that link, we would greatly appreciate that. Don't be afraid by the title of that survey when you arrive at it, because it does reference Microsoft 365 Business Premium as part of that. But this is related to us, sort of your experience of the event, and it allows us to continue to deliver these and provide these services to you as well. So
just to add, Lee, really quick,
Kellen.
Sorry, just to add, we do really need our folks to fill out the survey. So as an incentive, you know, for filling out the survey, there's an opportunity to win a $20 Amazon gift card. If you fill out the survey, you'll be entered in a raffle, and the winner will be drawn and notified via email next Monday. So if you won last month, you still have an opportunity to fill out the survey and be entered again. So please, please, please do so we can continue to bring these newsroom sessions to you all.
Awesome. Yes, thank you very much, Kellen. Very important. Free money is always good. So
well, it's not free because we do work pretty hard.
That is true. So. Yeah. We will exchange potentially for a few moments to fill in that survey.
Yes.
So with that said and done, we are arriving at the questions portion, Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And we will be happy to take those and see if you can challenge our brains and see what if you can get us into trouble with what we may not know. They're always the fun questions.
I don't think we have anything in Q&A at this moment. I just want to make a call back to some of the features that we discussed in our January newsroom session. So we mentioned introduction of pay-as-you-go subscription for SharePoint agents. So now this functionality actually start rolling out because originally it was slated for end of January, beginning of February. So we can confirm that this functionality is rolling out, and your tenant administrators, they can go to administration center and set up this pay-as-you-go subscription billing. And the most important thing, you have to have Azure subscription that will be linked to your agents. It's the whole process probably takes 5 to 10 minutes if you already have Azure subscription. And there are certain mechanisms you can put in place because one of the questions that we were asked, like, are there any limits we can put on the particular pay-as-you-go billing model? So what you can do, you can, on the Azure side, you can create specific notification and specific budget for this subscription, so your users will not run wild and run out your Azure bill. So there are some mechanisms that you can put in place to control that billing model. But as a reminder, what it helps users, it will help them to use SharePoint agents without actually having Microsoft 365 Copilot license.
Thanks, Alex. I think we may have a problem with our survey link, but Kellen, I think, is on the case to make sure that we can provide that to you. So we will get that to you. If we don't get it in the next few moments within the session, we'll make sure that all folks that are in attendance, you will get a hold of that link so you can complete that survey. We would really appreciate once we do get that to you, any form fills for that survey would be great.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know, Seth.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I got the link coming through in just a moment.
We need some funky music.
Yeah, we do. If you watch the recording on YouTube, we have a really cool intro song.
So that link will be available in just a moment. In terms of requesting the recording and the slides, please do so in the chat as well, and we will make sure that we collect all of those requests and get that across to everyone who would like those. Also, feel free to reach out to myself or to Kellen or to Alex, and we can also facilitate that for you, or any of your existing contacts within Valorem Reply as well. Anyone that you chat to on a regular basis, feel free to reach out to them, and they will connect the dots to us so we can get the presentation back across to you. And of course, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and you'll get a hold of that as it uploads. Okie dokie, the link is now in Q&A. So there is a Q&A there from Kellen in that section of the meeting. So you should have a clickable link to that survey. Again, huge appreciation if you are able to take a few minutes to complete that. I think we've already had a few done already, so thank you very much. That's awesome. So if there are no further questions, we can wrap the session up for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. As I say, we really enjoy doing these sessions, and we will see you in the next one for Copilot Newsroom in March.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
great
good Wednesday.
Day.
Bye.